right, welcome everyone. It is the Rockport Studio Tour Live episode, and thank you for everyone for joining us a day late. I was not very well yesterday and totally needed a day just to recuperate. But today I'm fine. Given all the symptoms going on around about COVID, I was a little freaked out, but super happy that I am feeling much better. So I would like to introduce our artist today. I'm going to go into our gallery mode, and we have a limited crew here for the time being. But before we get started, I do want to go around, before we get into the depths of how to make a video out of a PowerPoint. So sorry that I emphasized that last week, and I know that I've gotten a lot of calls, a lot of emails, a lot of contact about how do you do that. So this week, we are dedicating this episode to helping you once again apply for the new Normal grant in Rockport. So Rockport artists, if you live here, if you visit here, you live here part-time, if you consider yourself a part of this community, we encourage you to apply. And we're encouraging you to apply for everything. So let's see here. Before we dive into that, Doc, how about you just give everyone a moment to say what they're working on today?
Right on, right on. Let me go to this gallery view so I can see people here. Right to my left, I got Barbara Sparkman. Hi, Barbara. How you doing? What you got working on there?
Great. Actually, I finished a painting last night, or maybe it was just early this morning, but I don't know if I can show it because it's big.
Oh, I see it. Oh my gosh.
Right
I see it right behind you.
Yeah, there it is. No,
Oops.
there it is.
Turn. Yeah, there you go. How
There
big
you
is
go.
that? What's the dimensions?
I don't know. 4 foot by 2 foot, maybe.
Nice. So it's a nice
Pretty big.
It's oil and cold wax on canvas, and I can't quite do it, but yeah.
I love it. I love that how dynamic the white squiggle is. That's beautiful.
Oh, good. Well, thanks.
How long did it take you to do? Because I like to encourage our audience to ask questions about, you know, the investment of time. Art doesn't happen in an instant.
I know a lot of times I'll work on a painting for weeks. I'll keep going back to it and back to it. And this one I'd started the groundwork or the, you know, underpainting. But last night I worked on it for 3 or 4 hours, and then I just quit because it got to a point where I liked it. So.
Oh my gosh, that's
Right on.
knowing when to stop is the hardest part,
Yeah.
I feel.
And some of my paintings have like, they're, you know, on the 4th painting on top, keep repainting, starting over. But it's nice when one comes together the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Right on, right on.
So Barbara, if someone wants that gorgeous painting, how do they reach out to you? What's your website?
it's Barbara SparkmanArt.com.
Wonderful. Great. Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks.
Thank you. Right on. All right, moving along. To my right, I have Robin Hazard. Hi, Robin. How you doing? What you got working on there?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Good.
And well, I hear you are represented in downtown Rockport.
I know, I love it. We're by appointment right now, but it was off to a really good start. Nita had already sold like 3 pieces in the first week. So I'm very
Wow.
excited
And that's
about
at Anita Diebel's studio in downtown Rockport.
Yes.
She's right on Austin Street, and she's representing Robin Hazard right now.
Yep, and also Clementina.
And
Rivera.
Clementina Rivera, right?
Yeah. So I've been focusing on this grant and also reaching out to my other galleries to, you know, everybody's in a different stage right now as to what's going on, and you know, going to appointment by own, you know, only, and all that kind of stuff. So I've been kind of coordinating how to promote my work, you know, through social media and stuff like that. So.
Wow. So if they want to follow you on social media, what's your handle, Robin?
Well, on Facebook, what is my handle?
Isn't it South Texas Artists?
That's on Instagram.
Ah.
Yeah, that's on Instagram. And I guess on
Fantastic.
Facebook, it's just my name, Robin Hazard.
Oh, and so what is your website?
It's robinhazard.com.
Fantastic. And just before we let you go, what galleries, where else are you, you're represented at Anita Diebel Studio here in Rockport. Where else are you represented?
Felder Gallery in San Antonio, Boswell Moreau Fine Art in Little Rock, and he's about ready to change to a larger location by the end of
Wow.
the month. Yes, and then in Dallas at Cerulean Gallery, and she's located on Hillcrest across from SNU. So I have a long
Excellent.
history
Right
with
on.
the other two galleries. So yeah, so that's really nice.
So that's great. So if you're interested in Robin's work, please reach out to her on social media or through any of her galleries that are representing her in Dallas, San Antonio, Little Rock, and here in Rockport.
And in
Thanks,
Rockport, yeah.
Robin.
Thank you.
Right on. Super. Go buy some stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So moving along to the right there, I got Michael, or also known as Kubi. How you doing? What you got going on in that woodworking shop there?
Well, I showed some cross last week, and I kind of abandoned that because I had some problems with it. But I'm working on a new, and I'll go back to it later. But this
You didn't abandon it. You just set it aside for the moment.
Oh, it's set aside for a moment. I didn't abandon it. It's in my. But this is the cross that I'm starting to work on. I got all the pieces cut out. It's going to be a triple cross. And the interesting part, or I don't know if you can see this piece of mesquite that has all these voids in it, and I plan on filling that with turquoise.
Amazing.
And so there'll be some turquoise in this one. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm working on right now. Hopefully.
So I have a question for you. And they
Sure.
say you break a bone and it heals, your bone is stronger. When you take wood like that and you inlay it with turquoise or resin, is it stronger then?
Yeah, with resin, resin actually is stronger than the wood. They use this stuff for bar tops and stuff. So the resins we use, or I use, are very, very strong and almost unscratchable, but you can scratch them. They aren't as hard as glass, but they're really great surfaces.
I think that's really symbolic, especially in a cross or crucifix.
Yeah, it is. And it's this piece is sort of rounded on the edges, so the way I have to fill it is I use packing tape actually to tape it up real good. Because the resin won't stick to the packing tape.
Well, give me a call when you're ready to do that, and I'll zoom in and we can record it, because that sounds like a really cool process to have.
Yeah, it's a long process. It's unfortunately most resins I use takes quite a number of hours to dry, and you only have a certain, the work time is probably about 5 or 10 minutes on some of them.
Well, I have an attention span of 5 or 10 minutes, so that's about good for me.
Yeah. Now, when I do my show, I'll probably do some sort of cross, maybe either these or a layered cross. Whenever we get to that, I have to stage it because it's going to take. I can't do one step and take too long. I'd take up the whole program and like putting turquoise in. So.
Well, I think that'd be awesome. And Stan's episode is really good about how he staged works in progress and kind of stepped it along. So we'll take a look at that one too. Well, thank you so much, Kubi. I am very excited to see the outcome. Who's next?
Yeah, right on.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Moving along here, we got next to Carol, we have Elsa. Hi, Elsa. How you doing? What you got working on over there?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm in my little space here, and I've been pulling up some of my old photos to work from. And this is what I did the last couple of days, monochromatic images. This is from the charreada that is held in San Antonio during Fiesta Week. And I've had these images for years and decided to pull them out. And so I've done 2 so far, and I've got probably 3 or 4 more that I want to work on. And this one's drying, but when it's done, it'll go on my website, which is elsamatthews.com. And that's about it. I've also been kind of thinking about the artist grant. So trying to get working on that.
Yeah, and please let me know if you need help, because If I can't help you, I will find someone who can. And especially if I don't, because I don't know everything, but I will ask questions until I find
Oh.
someone who can help.
I can
AKA,
call on my granddaughter too.
oh, grandkids are perfect. They are the
Yes.
perfect resource in this. All right,
Exactly.
Doc, who's next?
Super cool. All right, next to that, I got Vicky. Hi, Vicky. How you doing? What you got working on over there? What you doing? Oh, we got her on mute here. You have to click yourself off mute. Let's see. Mute.
I'm just here with
There we go.
Stan, so that, since y'all are going to talk about Grant, I know I will end up being asked to do some editing, so I figured I better know what you're asking for.
You are not
What's
the
going on?
only spouse that has reached out to me on behalf of their artist partner. Trust me, it is. I've been getting to know a lot of spouses this week. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
So
Right
thank
on.
you so much. And that's a good, I'm so glad you're here and showing that, because I know people watching this at 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever time meets their schedule, they're there because they want to help their significant other in their life. And it really is a team effort. So I'm really glad that you're here, Vicki.
Yeah,
Who's
thank
next?
you. All right, next moving along here, we got Vivian. Hi, Vivian. How you doing? What you working on over there? I always see all your videos and posts since you've been following me on Instagram. Cool deal.
I have been working on still trying to put 2 pieces of pottery together to make 1 piece. I make the base. Wait, can't see the one I'm pointing at. Make the base and then I make the neck, and I'm putting them together. I'm sure there's a proper term.
Maybe
But,
Stan can tell us when we get to it.
This is my newest one. It's very wet. It's got an elephant trunk up here though, so I'm not really happy. I'm just trying to intentionally throw something that's worth keeping.
That's
Okay.
excellent.
You would think I'd have started that way, but now that we're all kind of sheltered in place, that's my intention, is to just get better. I mean, we're not selling anything, so I may as well learn to throw things out and start from scratch.
Yeah. And
Right on.
Vivian, if someone wants to follow you on Instagram, what's your handle?
V Rose Pottery.
The Rose Pottery. And if they want to buy your work, how do they get a hold of you?
They can direct message me on V Rose, but I also have pottery at the Rockport Center for the Arts,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the Rockport Gallery across the street from the Rockport Center for the Arts.
Well, fantastic, Vivian. And I look forward to helping you out on your grant as well. So we'll be chatting on Friday. And
Thank you.
oh, thank you. I enjoy getting to know all of you each week. This is a lot of fun for me. So let's see who's next.
Super cool. All right, moving along here. We got oh, I see Stan Irvin down there in the bottom left-hand corner already. Hi, Stan. How you doing? What you got working on over there?
Good. Well, I've been spending my mornings in the studio lately and working on the grant in the afternoon. Kind of working on these spherical forms that I throw. They're hollow, of course, and then I gouge and cut and kind of slice holes into them. I've been texturing some of them. I know that's kind of hard to see, but they're really kind of sculptural pieces, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going. I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
those are exciting. They look as if they could be illuminated from inside.
Well, that's kind of the plan.
Oh.
Yeah, Diane Johnson had something to do with that. She doesn't know what she started.
Right on. Right on.
That's excellent. I'm excited to see where those go. Those look very cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Super.
All right.
Alrighty. Moving along, we got, all right, I see Anita Diebold joined us again. Hi, Anita. How you doing? What you got going on over there? You're going to have to unmute yourself, though. Yep.
I'm getting pretty good at reading this.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
All right. Cool deal.
I have a Zoom in the middle of my screen. I don't know if y'all see that too.
No, we see your
Nope.
beautiful
There
face.
we go. Well, I'm going to show one of my class demos, and it was
Oh.
wild because we used 3 colors: orange, red, and green. And so this was the result. And then also working on another series that is, I love nests and birds. So this is part of my nest series. So
Oh, very cool.
I'm on Instagram too with Anita Diebel Studio. And then my website is anitadiebel.com. So,
Well, fantastic. And
and
Anita,
on Facebook, I'm Anita Diebel Art. And that came about during the hurricane when I had no place to be. So it was just Anita Diebel Art. So,
Right on.
Anita, can you tell us a little bit about the artist you're representing in your gallery?
yes, in fact, you're looking right now at Robin Hazard. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that.
Very
and in
nice.
back over my shoulder, you see another one. And then I'm going to turn it here. And that is Clementina Rivera.
Clementina Rivera. She is a local artist in your class. Now you have a Monday class, is that right?
I
That
have
you're
a
hosting?
Monday class. It is, I can't increase it or take new students till this is over because we meet outside. And so I'm on hold and I just have a few of my old diehards that stuck with me and we'll just, we're getting there. What we do is I give them challenges during the week and then we critique when we meet outside.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like
Right
a
on.
lot of fun.
It
Well,
is, and it keeps us all going because the challenges are new every week. And so we're pretty tough on them, get them started working. So it's fun and I can't wait till I can get my classes completely up again. I've taught classes for over 40 years. So it's
Well, I do know a few folks have reached out to me looking for mentors and I direct them to these websites and I direct them here to reach out to y'all. So hang in there. We're going to get through this and we're going to keep on going. Who's
Right on.
next, Doc?
Well, I got a question about
Okay.
Robin Hazard's work from the chat room here. Let me see. I think her name was Julie. Yeah, Julie wants to know how long will Robin's art be at Anita Diebel's studio? And I guess one of you guys can chime in on that. I figured it was perfect time to do that.
Through August.
Through August.
She's here for 3 months, so she'll be here through August.
All right. Well, there you go, Julie.
Well, right
down
now,
there and get some art.
it may change and she may stay longer, but right now it's through August.
That happens. That question came from Julie Vickers, who is a marketing professional outside of around Houston land. I'm from Chicago. We call it the suburbs and everything Chicago land. So I kind of incorporate that down here. And she did some amazing things. And I will post some here to the chat room here as soon as we get started and Doc starts his presentation. But she went through all my tips from last week and wrote them up in a checklist and she sent them to me. So I'm going to post those here and then I will, if you aren't able to get them, please reach out to me directly. I'm unable because of conflict of interest to put them on our website, but I will email them directly to you if you ask. And it's a tips on how to do it. And she also saved the application to a Word file so you don't have to, and you can insert your things. And she also made it into like almost an interview process of, hey, as if I was talking to you in order like, hey, if you're going to do this, this is what the response would be. So I just want to give a great shout out to Julie Vickers. You are amazing. And I've been watching The Karate Kid and the theme song there is You Are the Best Around. And she is. So I just want to thank you for that. And if you need some marketing, you can give Julie Vickers a call. If you need to reach her, ask me. Totally she did not ask me to this. This is not a paid sponsorship. This is just very grateful arts administrator to someone in the marketing profession who helped our artists out. So thank you so much.
Super cool. Super cool. Appreciate it. Thank you. Moving along there, let's go to gallery view, and I got Juliana next on the list there. Hi, Juliana. How you doing? How's that school thing working out?
It's coming along as well as working on that grant. I've, as we know with COVID, a lot of things have changed, and so I'm starting my last semester here, and as of right now, half of my studio classes have been moved to online. And so I'm required to make my own studio at home. And so today I've been organizing and getting all my millions of spools of thread together. And,
Love that rainbow.
yeah, I'm starting to make a little painting corner, and so it's a work in progress, but that's what I've been doing today.
I love it. We would love to come visit you once you're back into like school mode to see how, very much like Debbie Mins, how she showed us her studio in progress, making do in a less than perfect situation. Is we'd love to drop in and see how some of our college students are adapting to the studio world and how that works out, because we want everyone to know that they aren't alone. And we're here to support you too, Juliana. You're our token TAM-UCC student, go Islanders, and we want to help you along. So I'm so glad, and I'm very hopeful that you have an inspiring semester this year, even with all this craziness.
Yeah, even with all the
At minimum, it will be memorable.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely memorable.
Wonderful. Doc, that just leaves you. Tell me what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Me. All right. Well, not a whole bunch. I just been teaching a couple classes. I had 3 vets come down from Victoria last week, and we had a little class.
Vets, you don't mean animal vets, do you?
Nope. No. Veterans. How's that?
Veterans.
Yeah, veterans. They come down, and we did a couple hours with the glass blowing, and then they had a good time, and they left. And then I had another class the following day. So that's about all I've been doing, plus this grant stuff. And then we're working on some stuff. So that's about all I've been doing this week.
Why does everyone seem to roll their eyes when they talk about this grant? It's like work or something. I'm just teasing. I know it's not anyone's cup of tea, because it feels like you're applying for school, you're applying for a job. And one of the reasons we got into being artists is not to do that. So I completely understand. But I have been reaching out and talking to a few of you, and I actually spoke with Doc this morning. He sent me his application, his videos, and his supporting documents. He did such a great job. I asked him if you would review how to save a slideshow into a movie file. Now, I just want to let you know, we are going to be using on this episode PowerPoint. There are many types of slideshow programs. They're on Macs. If you have a Mac, they actually have a program called Slideshow. Now, I use a PC. That's just who I am. That's how I think. And so that we're going to be targeting to this. But as Doc goes through, I am going to point out give some pointers for tips for people with Macs. And so if any of you out there on the studio, on the cast are using Macs and you need to correct me, I am not offended, because I am not a Mac user specifically, and I want to move forward. So let's get started.
Super cool. Super cool.
Doc,
all right. I sure appreciate the thumbs up there. All right. I see everybody's using their little stuff, clapping and thumbs and everything. That's right on. So we got some technology happening now.
Yes, excellent.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, and keep in mind that this is just gonna be something super simple. I'm not gonna get into all the, macros or anything else that you can actually put into the slideshow. It's just gonna be a super simple, add in a couple of photos, and it is gonna be on a PC. I'm using Windows 10. Some people might have older versions, so their version might look different. The PowerPoint that I'm going to be using is the newest version too. I had to learn a little bit how to use it myself, because I haven't used PowerPoint probably in 10 years. So I had about an hour's worth of learning experience. The hardest part, I'm going to tell you right up front, was getting the audio on there, because I don't know for anybody else, but for me, hearing my voice by myself and listening to myself, I hear my own mistakes. So I had to re-record, and I must have done that 100 times. So just to get it right, like the way I wanted to hear myself. So that's the thing that I dealt with, just to do that. But here I am. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me get it going here. I'm going to go ahead and share. I guess we're going to share this screen. Open it up. And then we're going to share. Yep. Come on. There it is. And I'm going to share. And that's the PowerPoint. Everybody should start seeing it now. I already got it open. But if you're on Windows 10, obviously you may have this version, you may have an older version, but it's super simple. I'm just going to kind of go through it a little bit at a time. And if anybody has any questions, I can't see the YouTube chat.
I will be watching the YouTube chat for you.
And then whoever has questions, they can just ask and we can kind of, fumble through it or whatever we need to do. How I started out was a blank presentation. I just clicked on the blank presentation and that's where I went. And it opens up, gives you this right here. Now on the, move this out of the way here. There we go. Now on the right-hand side, you have design ideas. Now in the new version, that's the new theme of it. You can have these little things where they are actually moving materials within the frame. You can choose those types of design ideas. You don't have to. It's totally up to you. I usually, you can start with this one here. I mean, there's a few of them that you can start with. I'd like to put my stuff in the center. I don't know about what the grant people would like to see, but to me, I just highlighted it with the arrows and then you can move it anywhere you want. You can move the subtitle anywhere you want. You can move the picture anywhere you want. But to open it up and add your title, you just click on it. And then you can start typing GRANT grant DMO. Now it kind of got a little off center there, right? So you don't want it to really look like that. You can just spread it open and it'll actually come down. You can take the subtitle, say you don't want that, and you can actually right click on the line. You see how I'm holding that double arrow there? If you right click, you can cut that out. Whoops, it didn't cut it out. There we go. Right click and cut. There we go. And it went back to that background. That's okay. But you guys can choose any background you want. If that happens to you and you don't like it, anytime you make a mistake and you're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Right up here in the top left-hand corner, there's this back arrow. If you just hit that back arrow a couple times, you can go back to whatever you think you need to start over from. So it's super simple that way. So I'm going to go back forward. You can move back forward. I'm going to use the black background. I have probably a better contrast. But there we go. I got a grant demo. So that's my first page. At this point, what you probably should have in advance is what I did is I created a folder with all my pictures that I wanted to use. And then I created a Word document with all my verbiage I wanted to use. So what I did was I went ahead and created this first one and I go up here to insert. When you click on that insert, you have lots of things you can add here at this point. Since it's the first screen, what I did was I had my verbiage up. I actually have 4 screens on my computer, but some people may only have one. You can narrow it down to what you need to do. But I had my Word document open with all my verbiage. And then I went over here to audio. And I clicked on the audio. And it says audio on my PC or record audio. Well, I chose record audio. I actually have a headset that has a microphone and stuff like that. So the audio will come out fairly well. If you don't have a headset, you want to actually have your audio a little better, you might want to use a microphone on your PC at the very least. Maybe that might help change some of the background noise and stuff like that. So
also, what's a good heads up for audio is to go into a room of your house that has a lot of fabric in it. So a bedroom that has a large bed, curtains, things. And what that fabric does is it prevents the reverberation off of the walls. So that's a good place. Now, if it wasn't so hot, I would recommend that you go into your car on your phone and you could do it there because a lot of cars have soundproofing around and are able to do it. But it's pretty toasty out there right now. And I don't want anyone locking themselves in a car. That's not. So
turn on the air conditioner at the very least.
Yes. But you don't want to get the engine sound. So So what it's good is to go around and be in a room that's generally small, but has a bit of fabric on the walls, and that will help the sound immensely.
Exactly. Definitely all background noise. Like if you have the TV on, it's going to pick it up. If you dogs are barking or cats
Put
are
them
meowing,
outside.
stuff like that, you're going to have a quiet space so that you have, quiet audio if you don't have a headset. But all you need to do is hit the record audio button here. And what's going to pop up is this little box here, and it has a name. You can name the sound whatever you want. I left it recorded sound because nobody's going to see it anyway. You have a tape deck style of buttons here: play, stop, and record. When you hit the record button, it automatically starts recording your voice. I go ahead and what I did was I started off and I said grant demo, or the new life, or the what is the Rockport new normal. You can say something like that, demo, or whatever you want to say that's going to pertain to your grant. And then I go ahead and I had a little pause, and then I go ahead and I start reading from my Word document. And you're going to have to go through all the punctuation and stuff like that, your pauses and stuff like that are going to happen. Get it the way you want, and then all you have to do is hit stop. Okay. The next thing that you do, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to hit record here real quick and have a few seconds of sound so that you guys can actually see what's going to happen here next. So I hit stop. I got about 4 seconds. Now I hit OK, because that's what I liked my audio at this point. You can't hardly see. I'm going to move this little deal up just a little bit so you guys can see the little audio thing. You can move this down too if you want. It's just a little microphone, or a speaker, and that kind of gives you what you're going to do. Now, what I did so that the audio will play correctly is I go ahead and I right click on that little speaker, and then the bottom section here, you have 3 little tabs. That little tab right here that says style, when you click on it, it says play in background. That's what you want your audio to do while your slideshow is going through the whole slides. So that's what I'll do is I hit play in background. And that's all you really have to do for the audio. And at this point, I go ahead and I click save, because this way, if you constantly saving your work, if something happens and your PC, power is out or something and it goes blank, you're going to lose all the stuff that you got up to this point if you don't save first. So I save every few, pages or every few slides just to make sure I got it going correctly. So that gets my audio in there. Once I got my audio in there, I'll go up here, and next thing is you're going to use this insert button quite a bit. So when you click on the insert, it's going to have this drop down. You can do this a couple different ways. You may have this pinned up here, and you may have some of this stuff, but just click on insert. It's going to switch over. You can do a couple of things at this point. You can add your pictures, or you can add a photo album. If you want all your slides on the left from your photo album on there, it's a great idea to do that right now. You can simply do that. Just click on the photo album. New photo album comes up. File disk is what you're going to click on. It's going to bring up all your images. I actually have a folder on here that says grant.
Oh, good. I was hoping you'd show us.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm going through this whole section here, and I'll click on my art, and here's some of the pictures I have. Now, you can highlight each one of these that you want in your slides, not as a picture, but as a slide. So there is a difference. So if you hold down the control button, you can click any one you want. You see how they're turning blue there? You don't have to pick them in order. And then that way you can highlight all the ones you want, and you say insert. Okay. Another way to do this is, say you want all your photos in there. So you highlight the first one, scroll down to the very bottom, and you hit the shift button, and it highlights them all. And you can add them all in there. So if I hit insert right now, it's going to add all the slides. And I'll say okay to that, pops them all up, and I hit create. Once you hit that create button, it's going to populate all the slides on your left-hand side here. And now
Wow,
all,
this
are
is
all
way
there.
faster than I know how to do it. I would have dragged and dropped into each, which is also a possibility,
And that's
especially
what I'm
if
gonna go
you,
over. Yeah, it's a super
yeah.
easy way. Here's the thing though. I want to let you guys know right up front, you're going to have to make a connection here between these two presentations. You see how my first one up here in the background created a slide? That's the very first one I did. But when I created a new album and I added all those from the insert, it
Yeah,
created
where
a
are
whole new
they?
PowerPoint.
Where is that? I don't see it.
So the one that you see right now is
The audio file.
the audio file. That's what we're missing, right? So right now it says photo album over here by Michael Pence. That's me. But if I click on this PowerPoint, it actually created a new page. So how do I get that over there? You're
Wait,
thinking to yourself.
Doc, I'm not seeing the other one. I'm only seeing the grant demo. I
You're
don't
not
see the
seeing,
album of
you're
all
not
of the
seeing this one that I
pictures.
just clicked on?
I don't
Nope.
either. I don't see it.
Nope. Are you sure it's that screen? You may, when you
You know
shared
what?
your screen, you may have
I may have,
shared the,
I shared the PowerPoint, not the screen. That's
yeah. So
right.
let's just, if you
Let
could
me
go back
stop
and share
sharing.
the screen.
Yep, stop sharing. You're right about that.
Because I was following along and then I'm like, what? Where'd it go? See, everyone, it's a live and learn situation.
By phone episode events. Portion screen music. Content files. Oh, there's no full
You just want
screen.
the screen share.
Yep. So here it is. I'm gonna have to go back to this one here. Yeah, there's no screen. There it is, screen and share. How's that? Do you guys see it now?
Oh, yes. Now we see it both.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I did. I accidentally did to hit the presentation.
Ah.
So that's no big deal. All right. So let me show you the two screens that I have here. So when I went from the demo here, what I did was you went through the insert and I inserted them all. So what happens is it created this extra page. And now all on the extra page, all my photos are over here on the left-hand side as the slide. Does everybody see that?
Yeah, it's not an extra. Do you mean an extra slide where it said photo album by Michael Pence?
Yeah, this is what it did. It created an extra page.
Yeah, an extra slide.
Yeah. So what you're going to have to do is take that extra page. Whoop, let's see. Minimize. Where'd it go? I must have accidentally deleted it. That's all right. What you're going to do is you highlight this on your first page, this slide, and you just drag it to your second page wherever you want it. You see how I'm moving it? You just put it right on top, back where it belongs. Once you get to this part, I go ahead and hit the save button again, and that kind of solves that problem. And then what I do next then at this point is you can actually do a couple of different things at this point. Say you didn't want to add all those photos, or say you messed up the photo alignment or some order. Say number 2 needs to be down here where number 6 is. You just left click on it and you move it to wherever you want. If you don't like the slide, you can right click on it, cut it out. Now here's the thing is, say, oh, I forgot a few pictures. Oh, all you have to do is right click. It doesn't matter where. Right click on it and you put in a new slide and it adds one for you, and you can make this slide anywhere you want. So if you forget some, or even if you want to start from scratch and not add the photos, you want to add the photos to each slide you want individually, you can do that as well. So right now I have a blank screen. You can actually right click on that screen and you can choose a layout. You can choose any layout you want. I'll show you what some of them look like. And then this way you add another title or text or whatever you want.
So if you wanted like an in-between segment, let's say your particular thing is talking about, you work in multiple mediums. You work in, I'm just going to make this up. Let's take Juliana for example. She works in fabric. She works in silver. She works in painting. She has all these things. You could make a subtitle have this say paintings, and then you show your paintings under that section.
Exactly. That's
It
what
allows you to
I
make
would
an
do too.
outline.
Exactly. So you can, so right here, you can say paintings. And then now you can actually center that up wherever you want. You can actually right click on this whole thing. If you highlight it like this, right click on it, you can move it to anywhere you want. So you say you want it centered, it centers it. You want it to be on the left side, it'll be on the left. So, I mean, you can actually put this anywhere you want. You can drag it anywhere you want to. Say you don't like the color white. Maybe you want the color red. You can hit that little button right there and it pulls up a whole color wheel for you to choose from. And you can see the colors that you want to choose.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Since you made that audio file before, and we don't know where that is. Let's say I make my slideshow, and that's my process. I make the slideshow first, and now I want to do the audio. How do I do that on this file?
On this file too, you can actually do that. Go back up here, you highlight the slide you want. I tell everybody, or I would if it was me, I'd put my audio on the very first one so you know where it's at. It's not, you don't have to dig through your slides to find it.
Okay, so let's just say, because we aren't supposed to use our names,
Yep.
we would put, we'd retitle this like grant application.
Yep.
And,
So,
and no name. So because when you submit online through the cafe portal, it will automatically give you an anonymous number. So although cafe knows that you applied, all the people, the panelists, the 5 panelists reviewing it won't know who you are. They'll just see a number. So granted, some may know from your work and that's okay, but we're just following the anonymity. So let's say we retitled this. Now, how do we do the audio file? Just one more time for folks who missed it on the get-go.
Yep. So say you accidentally delete it like I just did. You can go back and re-get it. You hit the insert button up here. Let's see. And you go over here to audio. You click on it, left click, and then you have the option. If you already have your audio file saved on your computer, say you already made it and you from some other app and you have it on your file or on your computer desktop, you can click audio on my PC. And if you click that, it's going to have you search for that audio file wherever it's at. It might be on in your documents, your desktop.
So this is
might
for
be in
those
your
folks
music.
who maybe went and recorded on their phone in their car, or and then emailed it to yourself, or or whatever. But let's say you're doing it on the fly, you can record it right at your computer.
That's right. So that's for everybody that has the file already. If you don't have the file, you click on insert, you go back over to audio and you choose record audio. It's this section right here. Left click on it and it pops up this record sound. And then once again, you hit the record button there and it starts recording every word you're talking about. And then you hit
see how it's timing it. That the length is in seconds.
In seconds, that's correct. And so once you get however long your audio is, you hit the stop button. And then if you like it, you go ahead and hit OK. If you don't like it, just start over, hit the X button, go back up to insert, and you're going to get very familiar with that, I promise. Especially if you don't like hearing your voice. So once you get the one that you like, you hit OK, and it's going to pop up this little speaker right there. You need to make sure you right click on that speaker, go to style, and hit play in background. That play in background will automatically play once the slideshow starts. So you won't have to worry about clicking on the next slide each time. That's what that does.
All right, so we've learned how to make a slideshow in PowerPoint, and we've learned how to record audio on the fly or insert an audio file. How do we save it as a video?
Well, I would like to touch on how to import your pictures just one at a time real quick.
Oh, am I jumping the gun?
Just a little. Let me get to that and then we'll go to the video. So say you have paintings and now you want to add just the picture only. You go back up here to insert and you hit the picture. Now pictures and the slides are different. You can't add a picture right here and put it in the slides. Okay, so that is a difference. If you're going to create a slide, like I did here and added this one here, then you can go to your pictures. You can say from this device, and I want to add this one here, and you click insert. It automatically puts it right into the slide. And then you can actually left click on it, it highlights it, and you can shrink it up to whatever size you want, and you can move it around to wherever you want. You can add 3, 4, 6 slides in there. Now that adds it, or I mean, pictures, not slides. So you can add 3 or 4, 6 pictures into the slide here. If you try to drag this picture over here to slides, it's just not going to go. So don't get frustrated with that. If you need to create a new slide, you can always come over here, right click and hit new slide, and it'll add one for you.
So
that
Doc,
on that.
I have a few questions. I have a couple questions coming in through the chat on Zoom.
Sure.
One is from Elsa, and she's asking about audio. And she's like, audio is optional. Yeah, audio is optional, but I can tell you, when I'm watching a video, I'd like to hear something as well. But it doesn't have to be your voice. If you want to use music, just make sure you have the rights to music. You want to use something that is relatable, and you can use that audio file and just play audio in background, just like that. It doesn't need to be your voice if you don't want it. Additionally, from Kuvi, he says the instructions allow you only 3 digital images. That is correct as for files. So if you send still files, so Kuvi sent me three photos that I'm helping him with, and I'm editing those. If you just send the files for those images, that's 3 digital files. However, if you put 20 images into a video, it's still 1 digital file. It's 1 video. So by making something into a video, you're able to show a lot more of your work and still meet the requirement of 1 digital media by making it a video. And that's what we're doing here is we're showing everyone a way to maximize your application, to get as much work in front of those panelists as you can by still meeting the criteria in the application. So you are allowed to have single photos, audio files. Let's say you have an audio file from a radio interview you did. That's great. But if you just upload the audio file separately, then that is a single file. So there's a total of 3 digital files, and they can be made up of images, still images, videos with multiple images, or audio files. But any combination of that. So again, one of the things I've learned through grant writing and working at the Art Center is you want to maximize your storytelling power. And that's why we're advocating for a video and doing this, is it allows you to expand what you put in front of the panelists without breaking the rules.
Carol, you said that the audio should on the previous Zoom that we had done about 5 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you're making a video or audio, any file, like if it's a still image, it doesn't have a time because it's not doing anything. But if you, let's say Doc was talking about an interview he did on television, he has that file. And those are generally about 3-minute long ones. And he was a 3-minute segment. So he's including an interview that was done of him. And then he's doing some of these videos, PowerPoints that he's made into videos. And he's done those too. Now, and when I watched them, they were about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. And he said, and really I did not feel like it was long, and I didn't feel like it was short. So it's one thing to keep in mind but 5 minutes is about the attention span, and you can get a lot said and show a lot in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I said a lot in 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, whatever it was. It was quite the story.
So
What's up, Kuvi?
well, I guess this, if you did a PowerPoint, that would be one of your images, and you'd still could have 2 if you wanted to send some still images. But
correct. So Kuvi, if you need it, like folks, if you need assistance and you're kind of struggling, if you let's say you put 20 photos in a PowerPoint, and you save it and you send it to me and I take a look at it, and we save it as a video, that is one digital file. That is one of your digital media.
Well, how many pictures do you recommend putting in one of these files?
Well,
Let's
I
ask
had
Doc. Doc, how many did you put in yours?
I had 160 in one.
And you put them all in your presentation?
Yeah, right
You
here on
did.
this presentation that you're seeing right here, there is 66 in this one.
So, and they want to see that many pictures?
Well, you'll see
Go
that
ahead.
it's saved as a video. And so when it's saved as a video, then it becomes, it just ends up being a 5-minute story that they're watching.
Yeah, but so each picture flashes up for 3 seconds or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I watched one of Doc's, he had it at, how many seconds was that one?
Well, yeah, I had 160 pictures and I was like, how do I get this down? So I kept clicking, and that's what I'm going to show you here in a minute. Once I go to the slideshow section, you can actually click each slide, how many seconds you want it to show. And that was the thing. Each slide I was clicking every second so I could fit it all in the time I was talking.
However, when I watched it, I got a little dizzy.
Yeah.
So I'm suggesting between 3 and 5 seconds per slide.
Yeah.
That means if it's at 5 seconds per slide, then you can do 12 images per minute. 12 images per minute, that means 60 images for 5 minutes. Now, if you do 3 seconds a slide, that's 20 slides per minute. And that will be 100 images per video. Yep. So we are recording this, so you guys can go back and watch it and get those numbers again. But that gives you an estimate. So if you wanted to do 3 PowerPoint videos, like one, this is my story at Harvey, this is my story during COVID, this is my story about systematic racism, you can do that. However, you do not need to cover all 3 topics. You can simply say, this is my story of Harvey, this is my story of COVID. Or you can say, this is my story, period, and include anything you want into one video and include 2 other images. That's all of that is acceptable. You're able to mix and match as you would like.
Well, what I would do is just read you've seen mine. I'd read that. That probably will only take 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes at the most, even if I read slow.
Yes.
You're going to be surprised about that, because I had a little over about a paragraph and a half, and ended up being 180 seconds for me to read it. And so if you divide that by 60, that's going to give you a few minutes.
Not only that, is when you're recording, you have to slow your voice down a little. If you can see how I'm talking right now, it's much different than when I just talk and I get all excited. You're going to talk all excited, yeah, you'll fly through that. But very few people can do that while reading. So as you're reading, you want to pace yourself. You know, it may be that you read it and you just time yourself and see how long it is, and you're like, oh, or
that's right.
If you look at your images, you can time it. You can say, I need an audio file that I need to go for 20 seconds. And then I need to stay quiet for 20 seconds. And then I'll come in again, talk for another 20 seconds. And that, you know, there are ways that you can pause and just make it extend longer.
Well, I mean, I could read, I might change some of the words in mine for reading it as opposed to, you know, well, maybe not.
It's all up to you. Yeah. And, you know, you can, that's what spouses are great for, is to listen to it when you're done. Because
I'll tell you how you can tell right away. When you do your voice recording, or say you got your song or your whatever you're going to put as your audio, when you have it inside the PowerPoint, it's going to tell you exactly how long it is. It'll tell you how many minutes it is and seconds. And it'll go to the 10th of a second even. So you'll know exactly how long your audio is. And then you can time your videos, which I'm going to show you here in a minute how to do that to match your audio so it ends up properly.
Are you available for more consultants?
You can reach out to me, Kubi, anytime, and I will pull Doc in for special circumstances.
Yeah, this is super simple. And after a couple hours, you guys playing with this, you're gonna get the hang of how it goes, and you'll figure it out. So it's not too hard. You're gonna get the hang of it, and the more you do this little insert thing, you're gonna get the hang of it because it just happens to go with the flow of things, and you're gonna learn it very quickly. It's like using your iPhone. At first you're probably, oh, what does that button do? What does this button do? And you're gonna learn it. It just takes an hour or two. That's about it.
And you can always call me and we can Zoom and you can share your screen and we can guide you through. Because I can tell, that way you can learn. I like to say, you drive, I'll be the backseat driver. And you can direct, and we'll just kind of direct you through so you can figure it out. Because we're all about empowerment here. We want to make sure that you are able to do this and take this into the future.
Yeah.
And that would be fantastic.
Right on. Yep. So I'll move along here. So at this point, once you got your audio in there and you got all your pictures in there or all your slides together and they're all done, then you're going to come up here to slideshow and you're going to click on that and it's going to have a pull down. Now you have a couple of options here. Set up slideshow. If you click on that, you're going to have some options to, change if you want. This is more of an advanced feature. I tell everybody probably leave this the way it is unless you know how to do some of this browsing by the kiosk and stuff like that. That there's just all that stuff is presenter view and everything. So try to stay out of that one. But what you're going to want to do is rehearse timings. That's going to be the key to everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that. Oh. Everybody hears my second voice here. It's up here counting down. And that's what it's doing. And so when I hit the little button here for next, I hit the next. So everybody can actually see the picture. Every few seconds, right now it's counting 8 seconds. I can do the next slide, 8 seconds. And so the next slide.
And you can see 8 seconds, it may be a little long. So but if you only have 10 images, 8 seconds may be perfect. Or for instance, I'm going to touch base on a question from Vicky and Stan. Here is are you suggesting that the answers from the application should be added to the movie? Maybe not word for word, but it is an option. It depends on what your personal voice. Now, Stan was a professor. I'm pretty sure he can talk all sorts of, he has a lot of things to say, or he wants to add points to it. What's very important is that your audio touches on the topics that you are highlighting in your application. So if you're talking about your pieces, your glass, your medium, or talking about your story of Harvey, your story of COVID, you maybe want to show some images that support your story or talk about it. For instance, some folks were depending on Rockport Studio Live to add an income to their sales. They're adding sales to their income. So in doing that, you may want to talk about that specifically. What did you invest a lot in materials leading up to the studio tour? Did you make arrangements or pause or turn down other options to participate in the studio tour? And now the studio tour didn't happen. What are things that you have given up? Let's say with Harvey, I know many of you have lost your homes. Like one thing Doc did, I'm sorry, I'm using you as an example, but I'm not stealing any of your secrets. Right. Is that I was talking about repairing, showing the damage from Harvey, or if you have images of that, just say, hey, this is what I went through and this is my story. So some of you moved to Rockport after Harvey. Perfectly cool, because guess what? We all came together after Harvey and really started the art market, art loop, a lot of different programs here in Rockport. And so if you came here after Harvey, say that. Say why you came to Rockport. Was it for the supportive network of artists? Was it because you felt you could make a living as an artist in our community? Was it the support structure there? Was it the Art Center events? Was it the additional revenue opportunities from the events that we had that have been canceled as a result? Is it your home? Did you come back home from wherever you were because you needed to take care of family here? These are all reasons that you live in Rockport. We want to know why you're staying here and you want to thrive here. And so highlighting those points would be very helpful. Now, some of that may not be included in your actual application, but you can use this audio to expand what you said and give personality to your own story.
Yep.
Okay, so I hope I didn't confuse anyone. I'm looking at
of
some
course
Zoom
not.
faces, just making sure that I'm not adding confusion. I hope I'm clarifying.
Once
Sorry,
they
go
get the
back.
audio done, I think it's going to help them get to this point, and then they can actually click the next slide every time they want to save the amount of seconds. So you'll see that counter up there top go 1, 2, 3, and then as soon as you click next, you hit the next slide. And then however many seconds you want each slide to go, that'll get all the way to the end. And what may or may not happen is you might get to the end and you might still have pictures left, or you might get to the end and you don't have any pictures left. That means you need to go ahead and time out you need to start over again and time out the amount of seconds you want each slide and kind of get close to what you're wanting to end with.
Also in the format, you can just say each slide is 3 seconds. Each slide is 20 seconds. But you can't go in and let's say you want to really talk about one piece. You can stick on that for 20 seconds as you talk if you would like.
Correct. And then once you get to the point where you like it and you hit the stop button up there, it's going to come to this message here. Did you like it? If you do, you hit yes. If you hit no, it's going to take you back. Either way, it doesn't matter, because if you hit yes, it's just going to take you back to the main screen anyway. It's just going to save that slideshow. Here's what's going to happen if you hit yes. If you hit yes, now you can go into slideshow. You can go all the way over here to the left, and it says from beginning. And what'll happen is when you click on that, it's going to play your slideshow like it's hearing the audio, and it's going to go through the slides just like a slideshow. Has a play button. It'll automatically start. Since you said you wanted your audio in the background, it's going to automatically start, and everything's going to kind of mesh together, and you can watch it. And if you don't like it, you can go back to the rehearse timings and you can change the settings for each slideshow again. If you don't like your audio, go back and change your audio. And you can kind of play between those two. Between the insert button and a slideshow button, that's really super simple to add these photos, and that's all you'll need to play with, really. Once you get to this point right here and you're done and you like what you want, or like what you have, I mean, and you're ready to move on and you want to save it as a video, that's when it becomes a little bit more involved. So you're going to go into, I believe it's file, and then you're going to have save as. You're going to choose your PC and then your desktop or wherever you want this file saved at. And what's going to happen is this page is going to come up. I wanted it on my desktop. It says grant app. Right here, it says save PowerPoint presentation. Always save that first, because if you save that, you're going to make sure you have the file.
Let's go ahead and actually
happens.
do it. Let's save it as that right now.
Yep. So I'll save it as that right now.
So there. And that means as long as it's a PowerPoint, you can go in and change and edit it and do whatever you need to do, and you won't lose your work. So make sure you save it as a PowerPoint. But when you're ready for the video.
That's right. And when you're ready for the video, it's right there. Your grant app is right there, because that's what I saved it as. But I still have it open. But say your computer shut down accidentally, or you lost power, whatever, you can go back, turn it on. When power comes back on, your grant app will be there. But make sure you hit the save button for the PowerPoint. Then come back out, go back into save as. My PC, desktop is where I want it at. Again, you can save any folder you want or anywhere you want. This is just a simple way that I do it. And then I'll hit desktop there. Right here where it says save as type, right now it says PowerPoint presentation. But if you go down here and hit this little pull down, what's going to happen is you're going to have a whole lot of different options here. The one you're looking for is called MPEG-4 video.
It
This
can
one
also
right
be
here.
MPG. Sometimes the E
Yep.
isn't there. Sometimes it's just MPG4
Yep,
or
that's right.
MPEG4 and it'll in video.
You may or may not even see that video either. It might just be just the
An
image.
MP4.
Yep.
Is that Stan? Do you have a question or is that Kuvi?
No, I was just having to pull the computer close, my laptop closer to me so I could see it.
Yep. Yep.
It's MPEG-4 video.
Yep.
Yes,
That's what mine
one way.
says. If yours is an
Mine-
older version of PowerPoint or you have an older version,
No, I think I have a current version.
it'd probably say MPEG 4 or it might just say MPEG. So it just kind of depends on the version of PowerPoint you probably
It's got to
have.
be an MPEG file.
If you don't,
Yes.
if you want to use a different format, the Windows Media format or Windows Media Video is a good one. And you might see that as WMA or WMV, just depends on.
And Apple may have their own video
That's
version.
correct.
Is anyone on the cast with an Apple user?
No, I'm not. So
Okay, well, if you are an Apple user, let me know if you go to save as and you can't find it, give me a call, give me a holler. And you can call the Art Center, they'll give you my mobile phone if you don't have it already. And you can give me a call and I will walk you through it and tell you which file that you want to save it as.
There are Mac emulators out there that you can kind of go through and emulate them. But I mean, for the most part,
largely you're looking for a video.
Yeah, exactly. Once you hit the MPEG-4, it's going to say it right here, save as type. Make sure that says MPEG-4. If it don't, you're going to need to go back in there because you accidentally chose something else. So just make sure that says MPEG-4 and then you hit save. And what's going to happen is going to take you back right to your screen. But down here at the very bottom, it says creating video grant app MP4. What's happening right now is it's going through the computer processor and it's creating this MPEG-4.
And it can take a little bit of time, especially if you have 160 photos. So
exactly.
When you do that, don't be worried. You may want to go make yourself a cup of tea. You may want to make a snack. You may run an errand.
You can see how slow it's going right now for me. I mean, it's going pretty slow.
So it may take a half hour to 45 minutes for it to come out. And that's quite all right.
Yep.
So when you just want to make sure you have time. Because especially in Rockport, I know that sometimes the internet isn't as fast as we would want it to be. So if that happens, it may take a little bit of time. Just have patience with it and it will come out eventually.
Yep, that's right. Once this little bar finishes up down here at the very bottom, it's going to appear on my desktop and it's going to come out like an MPEG-4 file. I'll show you kind of what that looks like already. I have one already saved. So right here, I'll minimize that. It says grant app. Right now it's in the process and that's what it's going to look like on your desktop. Once it's all done, it'll actually look like this one right here. And so it'll have a little queue there.
And it has the actual picture, whereas the one that's still processing doesn't have an image on it yet.
That's right. So that kind of gives you guys an idea.
Would you mind, Doc, go over the one that's processing still. Just hover over it for a moment.
This one here.
Yeah,
Here,
when you look at that, so look, it says MPEG-4 movie, size 0 bytes, because there's nothing in it yet. It's still processing. If you go to the one that's complete, would you mind scrolling over that one? Scroll over that. Look, that says 88.8 megabytes. These are not tiny files. That's why that's a lot of space right there. So just be aware that it's going to be a large file at the end. And so when you go to upload it to the application, it may take a while for it to upload. So you want to make sure you have plenty of time to upload your file before the deadline. No, it may take an hour or two.
That's right.
So just be aware.
Yeah, it's no floppy disk either. It'd definitely overdo that.
So, and you can upload this directly to the application. So Doc, would you mind going to the cafe website and
all right, so that's the AMP. See, it's about halfway done. You can see down here at the bottom. And then you want me to go to the cafe app?
Yeah,
I
the
have to remember what
application.
that is. Dude.
You can go to our website. If you go to
What is that?
rockportartcenter.com.
To move this out of the way so I can, there it is.
Where is, there we go.
Is there a size limit on the videos?
We're going to go check out those right now. So he's going to type in our website. If you could go to Rockport. Art Center.
Art Center.
I know, our name is weird. There it is, .com. So when you go to our website, click on the front page, and I've added a button to help everyone get there. So scroll down just a little, please. There it is, applies to the new Normal Rockport grant. You can just click right there. And it gets you into the application where you will have to create your own username and login. Would you mind going to the application, please?
Does it apply? Or apply here?
Yes,
doesn't matter.
they ask you to apply there.
Then you're going to see
Scroll
this.
down.
And then we'll see
That's how
all
you-
the details.
And here are all the details. So it does not, let's see, let's all take a look. Does it say anywhere about the size of the files?
I saw it somewhere. Yes.
All right, I have no doubt, but we just need to find it here. Scroll, yeah, country's largest, you can
there,
get
yeah.
2,000 or 5,000. So let's hear, on the last of this paragraph, the first paragraph, panelists will review candidate applications and provide grants in either 2,000 or 5,000 to Rockport artists based on strength of their proposal, portfolio, and demonstrated financial need. So when we go to the application, there are 2 fields to enter, and then you're allowed to add some media. So the first question, let's go to the actual application. Let's see, let's scroll down to see if there's any other information about size.
I don't see any size here. And it might be on the next page.
Yeah, maybe on the next page. Oh,
There's some eligibility requirements here.
And again, I spoke with panelists and they said, if you are not sure you qualify as a Rockport artist, there's no harm in applying. It doesn't cost you anything, and there is a significant amount of money available. So it's up to you in your presentation to explain why you consider yourself a Rockport artist. Let's keep going.
I didn't see anything as far as size.
So let's check out the actual application to see if maybe it's there.
So I'll go to mine. We'll say.
I think we go to apply now.
Apply now. It's going to ask me to log in.
No one look at his password.
I hope that's
I'm
the
just
right one.
teasing. I'm just teasing.
I remembered. Look at that.
Yay! So
right,
here we
so-
go.
Here we go. So I can go back and complete this. I haven't even done it yet, but here's what I had the question about was here I got, you add your first section here and you have your second section here and you hit save and then you have your my portfolio. So this is where you'll add all your images or whatever. So
just go
I'm
back
looking
up.
for,
So the first question, I'm just going over the question types. Written detail of financial need due to COVID-19. So some people have sent me like a larger, long artist statement, and that's great. But what I realize now after I looked at those is you want to segment this into the different sections. And so you want to say what's canceled. Rockport Studio Tour was canceled. Art Loop's been canceled. Exhibitions have been canceled. What you haven't been able to go to art market days. You haven't been able to go to Art Walk in Corpus Christi. You haven't been able to, whatever it is, however sales you have that are no longer happening, just put that in as an explanation of financial need. Secondly, is there a financial need. If your spouse is on unemployment, that is a financial need. If you're maybe you have continued to be able to operate, but now you have to contribute more to your family's income because of that, because of unemployment with a spouse. This is a great place to put that in. Then if you go to the second question, sorry, up a little, here we go, is your written proposal. This is when you talk about, this is where I would put most of your artist statement of what you have been doing, how these circumstances have affected your work. So you can say your history, how you got into your medium, how long have you been working in this medium, what shows have you done? This is a good place for that, your CV, so to say. And then you want to put,
I have a question about that, Carol, because there is a difference between a statement and a CV. When
there's
you're
nowhere to
talking
put
about,
a CV.
yeah, when you're talking about yourself, it's a statement. But when you're talking about a CV, you're probably talking about in a third person, correct? Or is it opposite of that?
My CV is just a statement of facts of the places I've worked and showed.
So that's more of a first person perspective, whereas a third person perspective would be a statement.
Personally, I think both are first person.
First person.
I think both are first person. However, although I said last week that there was a CV, there's nowhere to upload a CV.
That's right.
So what I would suggest is that you just put a summary of your pieces. We don't have a word limit here. So if you want to copy and paste, just realize it won't copy and paste the formatting. So if you have things that are bolded or indented, you may have to fix that in this notepad because it kind of slips all of that away. They want to kind of keep it tight and steady. So maybe include the work or shows that you've done the last few years, or some folks are skipping that altogether. They're just listing 2 or 3 shows that they did and what they want to do with this work. A big focus of this question is you want to include where you've been, but more importantly, you want to say where you're going. You want to talk about what you want to do. Do you want to show more diversity or show the diversity of Rockport? Awesome. Do you want to continue to play in clay? That is awesome. Are you exploring yourself and challenging yourself? That is awesome. Do you want to expand your sales? How do you want to expand your sales? That is a great way. How do you want to depict? Basically, what I was talking to someone this morning, a member, and really this part of the question is, if you were to retell this story of Rockport at this point in time to your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren or your nieces and nephews, what would you want them to know your part as being? What did you contribute to where we are in Rockport now? So it doesn't necessarily need to be political. Not everyone is a political person. So it doesn't mean you have to have suffered horrible, horrible tragedy. You know what? This is a difficult time for everyone. And so we need it to be relative to you. And so what is happening with you and what's your story during this time? So now we're at work samples.
Yeah. And I still don't see any
I don't see any sizes, so you may need to explore.
Maybe I need to say my portfolio and it tells us. I'm gonna click on that real quick.
Yeah, let's see, let's explore. So now we're in the My Portfolio. That's where you would add your videos, your still images, your audio files. So here, let's click on Upload Media, Doc. Let's see if it tells us there.
See if it does there. It says it does.
There it
JPEG.
See,
5
you were
megabytes.
right, Anita.
1200 pixels on the longest side. That's a pretty good size picture.
That's a very ample size picture. Let's switch it to video.
Yep. Oh, let's go audio first. It's next.
Okay.
Let's see.
So here's
are the formats they wanted. So they don't mind any of these formats here. 10 megabytes with minimum bit rate.
So just for your all for reference, you see how it says MP3. That is an audio file, and a video file is an MP4, also known as an MPEG-4. So you just need to know the lingo a little. But if you're looking MP3 is audio, MP4 is video. So here we have the audio title, the original format, Is it a copy? And how long it is. And this is of a piece of artwork. So this isn't a value.
Music artist, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, can we go up?
Okay, let's go to video.
Video. So here you can see it's a WMV file, an MOV file, or an MP4 file under 100 megabytes. So Doc's file that he just created on this show was 88, or the one that his application he didn't see
88.
was 88 megabytes.
Let me go to that. Show them one more time, Carol. I'm gonna hover over it. Well, the one we just created is actually done.
It's actually,
and so it's oversized now.
So if you see that, if it's over 100 megabytes, you're going to have to go back and do a little editing. You may have to reduce it a little. So you want to stay, for a video, you want to stay under 100 megabytes. So is there, do we have any other questions going on?
I think I sent one earlier, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh, well, I've been looking at the chat window in our Zoom meeting. I've also been watching the chat window on the YouTube, and I don't see any other questions. Okay. But if, let's see, does anyone else have any questions about this?
I don't have any questions. I think everything's answered.
Yeah.
Anita, what did you say?
I said I better get started quickly because there's a lot to do and check and recheck.
Well, there are things to check, but you can, one of the cool things I think that Doc said, which was a great pointer. Let's take it off your screen share. Let's show us again since we're just chatting now. Is that as we're going through, let's see here. Oh, resolution. Doc, could you check on the resolution?
Oh, okay.
It did say a resolution, but generally I would say the PowerPoint
640 by 480. A minimum resolution is 640 by 480.
Yeah, so it means minimum resolution means it can be much better than that. The PowerPoint, when you save it as an MPEG-4, it'll be the proper resolution. And if you're concerned about it, give me a call and I will walk you through on Zoom how to check that out and verify that it's accurate. Cool. All right, that was from Elsa. So big things to realize when you're making your PowerPoint. One, put all your images into one file. You want to, just dump them in, start looking through. Do you have pictures of things being canceled? Do you have pictures of what you've experienced in COVID? Do you have pictures of your house or your studio or what happened there? I know that all of us are like, oh, we're so done. We're over Harvey. Oh, well, Harvey's not done with us. So we want to use this to step forward and move past it. And this is our opportunity to really take a moment, think about what we've been through in the last few years here in the Coastal Bend, and really start making history right here. History will be what we leave behind and what the next generation knows. So this is something to think about of what do you want our story to be in future years. So with that, so dump all your images into one folder. Then type up what you want to say and start reading it aloud. You can record it right into your computer, or you can record it on your phone. If you need to go somewhere, just make sure that you have a mic. If you have a mic on your earbuds, that may be a great way for you to record because you can get right up and close. Because you may be like, I don't have a microphone. You probably have a microphone on some earbuds or your Bluetooth headset or something like that. Then after you have your audio, you can go and select all your images from your file in PowerPoint and create a photo album, and it will create a slideshow with one image per slide. Then you want to go through your image file and start timing it. how many seconds do you want each slide to show? I would highly recommend somewhere around 3 to 5 seconds. Because at 3, if you get less than 3, your viewers are going to be like, it gets a little dizzy and it's hard to keep up. So let's say you have 6 pictures that show like one period at a time. Maybe put them all on one slide or narrow them down to 3, you know, before, during, after of something. And then you can tell the story in one slide. So in 3 or 5 seconds. Maybe you decide because there's 3 pictures on it, you want that slide to show for 8 seconds, super long in the slideshow, but it gives you time. So that gives people to see each of the 3 images in that one slide. You can mess with each slide timing, or you can set everything as an equal, like 3 or 5 seconds. Your overall time, you want to keep to 5 minutes or less. Something that's 3 to 3.5 minutes is really perfect because it's nice and tight. So then after you have that, you're going to take your audio file, follow his Doc's instructions of dropping that file into the front slide of your PowerPoint presentation. Once you have that done, you can start to see how you can play as a slideshow and see how your audio matches up with your slideshow. Once you have that all figured out, you want to save it as a PowerPoint, actually save everything throughout, or auto save, set your computer to auto save every few minutes so you don't lose any of your work. Especially if a storm comes through, you may lose some things. And I don't think anything's coming. I think it's just more Sahara dust, but just in case you don't know. So you save your file as a PowerPoint, and then you're going to go back and save as an MP4 or an MPEG4 or a movie file or a video file. Again, if you have questions or concerns and don't see any of those files, give me a holler, let me know. Then after you have that, you can see how large your file is. It may take a while for it to render. That's what we call changing a still images into a video file. It may take a little bit. And once you get into that, you want to make sure your video file is 100 megabytes or less, because that is the cap for the Cafe application. So if it's under 100 megabytes, then you go to your application, you cut and paste from your Word document into the application fields, and then you upload your video. You can load up to 3 digital media, and they can be all 3 images. They can be 2 images and an audio file. It could be 2 videos and nothing else. It could be 1 video showing 100 pictures. It could be any mix and match, but you can only have 3 digital files uploaded to your application. So I have a question here about how many pictures in a PowerPoint. As many as you can fit, or as little as fit, your choice. But you need to make sure that the overall file is under 100 megabytes. So I would say like 60 images or so is a really good, 50 to 60 is a really good something to shoot for, but you don't need to be that way. Let's say you have 1 image. Let's say you have a piece of work that's all about your experience through Harvey. You may want to put it up on the PowerPoint and talk about it as to how and you may talk about it for 2 minutes. That's okay too, if you want to show and tell or go into depth a little bit more. These are all options. So are there any other questions? Did I skip over anything, Doc?
No, if they need to go back to this video here, it's gonna, once we end here, they can always go back and review everything that we talked about and go through it step by step and follow along like I did. And if you have any questions, just give her a call. Sure.
So did I just hear you say that so we do our audio file to go with our images, and the application, is that the same thing as our audio file, or is the application just answering specific questions?
Go ahead.
Redundant?
Yeah. The application where it says audio file is only if you're going to upload an audio file only.
Right. But
Since
I'm
you're
talking, what I'm
She's talking
about
the,
the word, the telling my story,
yes, over the video. So when you make a PowerPoint
Yep.
and the audio that you have. So what I would do is when you answer the question, think of it as a couple, if you, how can I say this? If you're a reporter, if they're going to ask you the same question in 4 different ways.
Right.
That's kind of what they're doing. So
Okay.
you want to answer the application question as the application question. You want to
Okay.
answer want to include kind of your past and the direction. Your proposal is where you're headed with this money. What would
Okay.
you do with this money? What would it free you up to do? And save that. But then take a look at what you wrote, because you probably wrote some things that would really complement your work as an audio. You don't have to go word for word, but you may want to. Maybe it is exactly what you want to say. That's okay.
Okay.
So, but if, let's say you want it to be slightly different, or you're like, I really want to talk about this, go for it. Just make sure it's under 100 megabytes.
Okay.
for the video, but the audio was 10.
Yes, but I'm guessing that if you're recording your audio, you're doing it to add to your
To the
PowerPoint
PowerPoint.
presentation, to
Yes.
make a video.
Thank you.
If
Yeah.
your audio is in the PowerPoint file, you don't have to also upload the audio file, do you? Isn't it?
No,
You
because
just
you will,
do the PowerPoint file.
because you will
has-
save the PowerPoint file as an MP4. And then it merges the audio and the video.
Okay.
And that's one digital.
And that's one digital file.
That's right.
Gotcha.
So I hope that answers some questions. I want to let everyone know that if you apply, there is a good chance that you will receive funding. Can't guarantee how much, because there's 2 options, 2,000 or 5,000. But I could tell you that it's definitely worth the effort of putting things together. Additionally, after you have this together, you have an amazing asset that you can add to your website. You can add to your social media. You can use or share with friends, or you can give to a gallery when you're exhibiting this work. This would be a great asset for anyone who is trying to get inside the mind of an artist. You are telling them where you've been and what's going on. And that's part of history. So maybe we should just keep these videos for long term, or maybe ask you to redo them or help with it, because it's a great interactive feature for our audience and our artists, and for Rockport in the future. It's our time capsule of now.
I think that the more important point about the grant is that you get exposure to some pretty sophisticated art areas. It's outside of the Rockport area. That's it.
Yes.
I'm not as interested in the money as that.
That's great. And if that's part of the case, that's fantastic to know. And just to let you know, the panelists aren't supposed to be watching this, so they won't hear that. But you will. It's Sarah Sells Morgan. She is the director of the Art Museum of South Texas. Great lady, huge supporter of the arts. I worked with her for 5 years. She is a fantastic panelist. Then we have Michelle Smythe. She is the executive director of Case-Based Contemporary in Corpus Christi. They do their Third Coast Biennial annual every year. It's a juried competition. It takes place in the summer, and generally the spring is a spring deadline, I feel, and that's a great exposure as well. In addition to that, there's Luis Perron and Elena Rodriguez here at the Rockport Center for the Arts. They together, along with our committee of members and board members, put together our exhibitions every year. So you get to you get to put your artwork in front of those individuals as well. And finally is Susanna Morolis. And Nita, I said it right this time. And and she is a local artist and sister to Jesus Morolis, who was an amazing Rockport sculptor here in town. all of these individuals have international and national connections throughout the world, throughout the US and state. They know people. When you're in the art industry, you need an exhibition, you reach out to your colleagues at other organizations. And one of the things this does is get these arts professionals familiar with your work. So when they have a friend from Seattle calling them saying, hey, I need someone who, we're doing a show on X, and it just so happens you covered X in your artist statement or in your video, she'll remember it. And she'll be able to say, hey, you know what? I think I have the artist for you. Or that's at least what's happening when I think about this taking place in a movie about Rockport art sometime in the future. You know, it's just, how did we make this connection? And getting in front of those people will expand your audience. So I have here a little shout out from our friend Betty Shamel, and I love her response because her spouse is someone I've been talking to a lot this past week. And she said, very informative. I hope Chuck understands this all. You know what? I will walk Chuck through it. That is perfectly acceptable. I'm so glad that you guys were listening and watching. Thank you so much. If you're watching this and you are a Rockport artist, please apply for the new Normal Rockport grant, courtesy of Frontline Art up in Fort Worth, Texas. They are an amazing group with Rockport ties, and we are incredibly thankful that they are giving 30 to 70 artists this opportunity to have a grant and exhibition next spring. So from all of us to all of you out there, I wish you happy writing, and I hope that all technology woes go away in the near future, and that you have smooth sailing in creating your PowerPoint presentation and saving it as a video. And of course, if you have any problems, I'm here to help. I'm here because I want to help you get this money, and I want to help you all succeed. I want Rockport on the map as an arts destination, and I want us all safe and sound. So you all take care, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday, as long as I'm feeling all right. Talk to y'all later.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you next.
See you next